Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're gonna have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month, that is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're gonna win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: A.Z. Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I don't like it. Does he think he's playing on the opening kickoff? Does he want to get a handoff at that point?
I mean, he's involved in the program. Here's the problem with James
Why do coaches even run out with the football team? Like, Andy Reid doesn't run out with the Chiefs.
Yeah, but it's the NFL. This is college kids.
High school, college basketball? Do those
they're
guys
like a
run out
father figure. Well, they used to be like a father figuring. Now the kids are making more than the coach.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Morning, welcome to another live edition of the Craig Carton Show. Craig Carton with my main man from Philadelphia across the room, Mr. Tyrone A. Johnson here as well. Football got started last night, and I am not happy. I know I'm smiling. Because I'm the guy that told you that the Dallas Cowboys were going to keep it close. They might even have a chance to win the game. But, man, the Eagles were ripe for the picking, and the Dallas Cowboys couldn't pull off the one play they had to have, whether it was the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. And now here's the problem for the rest of the league. Y'all are all in trouble because the Eagles were beatable last night and Dallas didn't beat them. Consider this. Saquon Barkley ran for 60 yards. Jalen Hurts threw for 150 yards. The Dallas Cowboys scored on every possession but one halfway through the game. And somehow, some way, they couldn't find a way to cap it off with a single fourth quarter point and beat the Eagles and put the league on notice that the Dallas Cowboys are for real. And I'll tell you what, I think the Dallas Cowboys are for real, Tyrone. And congratulations to your Eagles.
Oh, thanks.
I know you lost your wager because you don't listen to the voice of reason, me. But that don't matter because you're 1-0, and that's the sign of a great team, not a good team. So all the things we said about Kansas City last year, they won, 12 one-score games, like 7 games on the last possession. That's what Philly did last night. So many parts of this game to get to. So let's go through it. The obvious one, 6 seconds into the game. Look, I know he's a knucklehead and was at Georgia, which is why he slid down in the draft a little bit. But Mr. Carter's got to know a little bit better. You are the Eagles' single best, undisputed, single best defensive player. You are the reason you cannot run up the middle or between the tackles against Philadelphia. And before you got a single snap, you had a spit on a dude. Now, where I come from, the one thing a grown man cannot do to another grown man is spit on him. There's only one place in life where spitting is acceptable. And Jalen Carter had this to say about the now spit scene around the world during last night's opening game of the NFL season. Take a listen to Jalen Carter.
Oh, you got to give him that huck, too, and spit on that thing.
I'm sure I'm not the only person to tell that same joke, but you had to be beside yourself when your best player got kicked out of the game before the game started.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And partially because I know you said, they're going to keep it close. I go, nah, Jalen Carter's the best defensive player perhaps in the league. I'm not being hyperbolic.
Maybe.
And before you know it, he's gone before he plays a snap. And the worst part about it is now the Eagles are short. They end up being short the whole game because they couldn't bring another guy up because the game had started. If he does that in pregame, they could dress somebody else.
Well, not just that. You're not going to get anyone dressed or undressed as good as Carter, obviously.
It changed the whole game.
And you saw it because when you see the Cowboys rushing touchdowns, they ran right at the gut.
Yep.
And if Jalen Carter's there, look, they may score one of those 2 times or score in a different manner because it's a goal-to-go offense. But Jalen Carter not being there, obviously, was a huge part of the game. But, we talk about Dak Prescott a lot on this show and all shows. Is Dak Prescott a top 10 quarterback? I thought Dak Prescott played his ass off last night. I thought he was great. Now, to be fair, the far majority of his passes were 10 yards or less. They were not throwing the ball a lot down the field. He took the one shot to Pickens. They got the pass interference call, which led to one of the touchdowns. He didn't take a lot of shots deep, but he did, game on the line. This is a sign to me of whether or not you have a quarterback you can trust. I firmly believe, and I've always said, I don't think Dak's top 5. I don't think he's ever been top 5. And I know 2 years ago, he was second runner-up for MVP and led the league in yards and all that. So that's probably a shot I shouldn't take. But I've always felt that Dak Prescott was legitimately a top 10 quarterback, okay? So he proved it last night, and his best receiver let him down. Now, your guy, CeeDee Lamb, has more drops of any wide receiver in the league over the last 4 years, and he had at least 3, maybe 4 drops. I know the last one on 4th down, the diving attempt, ball hits him in the hands, man. And for those of you that didn't see it, I just want to show you the video. 4th and 3, game on the line, down 4, 2 minutes to go. Now watch CeeDee Lamb right here. It's like he doesn't have hands.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, make the catch. Make the catch.
Like, Dak Prescott hits him right in the gut.
I mean,
right there.
It's the best throw you can have.
And you would think that CeeDee Lamb has no hands.
You would think that. You would think that. Come on, buddy. If you're out there, you make the catch.
Sorry, that video is just
the catch.
Too good for me not to use. So CD drops a bunch of balls. I think on the Philly side, though, one of the things that's going to come out of this, and this might be a media creation, and I'll own it. I'm in the media. I'm creating it. I think the biggest problem that Philly's going to have this week, and obviously, a couple extra days getting ready for the Kansas City Chiefs next week in Kansas City. Kansas City plays tonight against the Chargers. We'll be all over that game in a little bit. And by the way, our NFL insider, Jordan Schultz, is going to join us in studio next segment as well. We'll get to that in a minute. I think the biggest problem Philly's got, other than the obvious, dealing with Jalen Carter and his immaturity, is the fact that A.J. Brown had a single catch. And they didn't look his way other than the one catch he had for like 8 yards, whatever it was. And none of the wide receivers, like Devontae had a couple catches. They featured their tight end, Dallas Goedert, got most of the attention from Jalen Hurts. But, that's potentially a problem to me because A.J. Brown, quite famously, doesn't like it when he doesn't get the ball. No wide receiver does. He, more than anyone, has something to say about it, which was the whole thing last year about reading the self-help book on the sideline. Dude, he needs like a thesaurus of self-help after last night and only getting the one catch. But if I'm an Eagle fan, 2 things that come to mind from that game. Number one, when the storm comes in and the lightning bolts are, I guess the rule, 6 miles away, first thing I'm saying is these are grown men. Play football. No one's getting struck by lightning. Have you ever seen anybody get struck by lightning?
Thank God I haven't.
Right.
I don't want to see someone die.
Oh, nobody's going to die. Nobody's getting struck. The storm is 6 miles away. That's the first thing I thought. The second thing I thought was, I try to put myself in other people's shoes so I can have a thought on what would I do, right? Dude, if a storm's coming in and it's a Thursday night, I'm a dad, school night, right? And I bring my kids with me for the experience of going to an Eagle game, a Cowboy game, a Jet game, whatever the game is, doesn't matter, on a school night. And in comes the storms, like God's fury is raising hell and all that stuff. And there are lightning bolts. I ain't staying. And what was fascinating to me, we had a 1 hour, what was it, 64 minutes,
64 minutes, so 1 hour, 4 minutes.
1 hour, 4 minute delay. I know sitting at home, I had to find some stuff to do. I didn't want to sit there and watch, Chris Sims and Mike Tirico, talk in the tunnel. I had no interest in it. But man, I would have been in my car so fast on the way home, beat the traffic, and I could have gotten home in time to watch the fourth quarter. And I'm watching it last night, and I'm saying to myself, I wonder if everybody left. And when you take a look at any of the video from the fourth quarter, nobody left.
Nobody.
Everyone stayed,
Everyone.
which proves again, people in Philadelphia have nothing to do.
That's your takeaway. Not the great fandom. None of that. Just bored people.
No, I guess it makes them good fans also, but they ain't got nothing to do. That being said, congratulations to the Eagles and Eagle fans. I think the rest of the league's in trouble now. We already knew that Philadelphia was a great team and going to be a great team this year. I think you could throw against them. I think Dallas proved that they're susceptible to the passing game. But if they win a game like that again, Saquon Barkley, not great, 3 yards a carry. 60-some-odd yards for the game, not great. Jalen Hurts, and this is one of the knocks on Jalen, which I think is unfair. He's a game manager. Dude was 19 of 23, which is damn near perfect. Mm-hmm. Had a couple drops.
Yeah, had a drop and 3 throwaways. So basically perfect.
Basically perfect. Saquon had the drop on the little screen pass there, or the little dump-off pass there. But, he threw for 152 yards. But the beauty of Jalen Hurts, and one of the reasons I think he is the most disrespected quarterback in all of football, is the fact that the guy does one thing that many guys don't do, and that's win. All that guy does is win. And it may not always look pretty, but Jalen Hurts is a winner. Not every quarterback is. That dude, regardless of the numbers, always makes the big play. We got Jordan Schultz next in studio. NFL News and Notes coming up right after this.
Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Donnie, the season is 6 months. 5 if you check out in September. You're gonna have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month, that is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're gonna win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I don't like it. Does he think he's playing on the opening kickoff? Does he want to get a handoff at that point?
I mean, he's involved in the program. Here's the problem with James
Why do coaches even run out with the football team? Like, Andy Reid doesn't run out with the Chiefs.
Yeah, but it's the NFL. This is college kids.
They're college basketball. Do those
they're
guys
like a
run out
father figure. Well, they used to be like a father figuring. Now the kids are making more than the coach.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show, live from the mean streets of New York City. Our own NFL insider. That's right, we got a big budget of a cup of coffee. Is my main man, Jordan Schultz. How you doing, pal?
Craig, I'm doing great, man. It's such a pleasure to be here.
That is the smile of a man who just launched his own podcast, which is getting a lot of attention. I saw the first episode with Draymond Green and Devontae Adams.
Yes. He has some interesting words.
I thought I love Devontae. Great guy.
He is a class
Just
dude.
solid dude. And the story was that when Devontae Adams came to New York to play with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, well, Malachi Corley was already rocking the number 17. So Devontae offered him $17,000 for the number, which is solid offer.
A good offer.
And how much did Malachi want?
Malachi said, I appreciate that, but the going rate is $1 million.
Which, by the way, it's not. But why not ask?
Why not ask? And so, and then the funny part was, Devontae said, Malachi, listen, I think number 14's available. And Malachi said, yeah, it is. It looked good on you.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I thought it was pretty cool, too. And he said it was a little tricky for a couple of days, and then they patched it up. But obviously, he didn't pay him $1 million.
He did not pay him $1 million. All right, lots cooking. I know you just sat down with the new starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, former Giants, embattled quarterback, Daniel Jones. It's funny with Daniel. There's two separate camps on him. The one camp was never his fault.
Right.
Obviously, he had the one playoff win against Minnesota on the road. Saquon had a great game that day as well. That he just never had a good offensive line, never had weapons, coaching, all that stuff. The other side is he ain't any good. You spent time with him. He is the starting quarterback in Indy. What's your just overall take on where he's at?
The first thing I asked him, Craig, was, were you set up for success in New York?
Yep.
And I was really curious to see what he said. And he said, a lot of the onus is on me. I did not play well enough, and ultimately the quarterback is responsible for winning and losing. He did say, obviously there were injuries, but the onus is on me. And I thought that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting him to necessarily go there. And then I said, what's the difference between Indy and New York? And he said, obviously the markets are drastically different.
Right, the attention's different.
The attention. But I think if it's going to happen for Daniel, it needs to happen now. And the reason I think it could is because of his relationship with Shane Steichen, who obviously did a lot for Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Did not work out yet with Anthony Richardson. Daniel goes there, gets paid about $15 million. He wins the job, and he played golf with Shane that day. And I said, what is the connection with Shane? And he just said, schematically, he's tremendous, but there's a lot of trust that he's developed with him that I think could play a significant role.
Yeah, I was always in the camp. I think he could be a good quarterback. He's never going to be a top 10 quarterback, nor do you have to be, by the way, to have success. And my gut was when Indy signed him, I thought it was a really smart signing because I don't think they really believed in Anthony Richardson. He's got some ridiculous freak athletic talent, but you got to also have the ability to understand how to read a defense and how to not rely just on your ability to run and throw the ball into tight windows and all that nonsense. So I thought they signed Daniel to make him the number one quarterback. Now, if Anthony had beat him out, even better. Now you've got two quarterbacks. You have a backup. I think that division stinks.
It's not a good division. There's an opportunity there.
That's what I think too. I think 10 wins, you have a shot. 11, maybe more so to win that division. I also think everyone's sleeping on Cam Ward, which makes no sense to me.
The least talked about number one pick in the history of the NFL.
Right. Like
it's
everyone's
shocking.
out there like yelling and screaming about how come Shedeur said, like, you had a dude pick number one who nobody is talking about.
They told me, Tennessee did, that early on in minicamp, OTAs, Cam Ward was there at 4:35 in the morning.
Right.
And they thought that was only for the first week or two. That went throughout the entire camp. He was always there early. He is a true football junkie. The team is not good. The roster is not good. But I do think he's going to have a good rookie
I think he
year.
is too. Let me get to obviously the trade that shocked everybody. You were in on it. Micah Parsons going obviously from Dallas to Green Bay very late. And then we find out he may need an epidural to play. So the back thing was real. It wasn't like a manufactured thing. And they give him a boatload of dough, obviously, to play. And then we find out, allegedly, that the Eagles made a pretty good offer and Dallas was not trading him in the division. What do you know about the whole situation?
Philly was interested. That was never going to happen. The team that actually really tried was Carolina.
Really?
And I thought, if Carolina, obviously they traded Burns to New York. They haven't really been able to replace a pass rusher. They did not want to trade Derek Brown. But to me, not only was trading Micah a mistake, but trading him now is a mistake because forget trading him in March or April before the draft, Greg. If you had done it maybe a month into the season, let's say Carolina's 2-2, 3-1, Bryce Young's playing well, maybe they give you more. A team like that's overachieved.
Sure.
There was no reason also to trade Micah. You had him under contract for a whole nother year. So to me, the trade was just crazy.
It also seems like Micah was playing his hand there too, where he was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready for week one.
Right.
And if you know anything about Micah Parsons, the dude wants to play. Like he plays.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that comes up with invented, oh, my hamstring hurts. We call it the plaxico burrs here. Like, I can't practice, can't play. Yeah. And then you're like, wait a minute, that dude's on the field on Sunday.
Another thing too was I don't believe, and this was The same executive, I put this out in March, that said there could be a trade. It'll be unlikely, but it's actually possible. The same one told me Jerry never wanted to pay Micah. He wanted to make it look like he did. It was a charade, the Netflix special. Let me pull a fast one on everyone, and obviously he did.
Yeah, and one of the stories that came out was that the players were upset about the podcast that he was doing.
I heard that.
Is he doing the podcast in Green Bay? Do we know?
I believe he still is.
He's still going to do it.
But why would that be an issue?
I don't know, because people are like, yo, we're losing. And you're out there like with it's kind of thing where I think fans feel this way too. We take losses personally as fans, right? We want you to hurt when you lose. We don't want you losing a game, especially like a divisional game, and then like 24 hours later, you're hamming it up with a dude you may have just played against. We want it to mean something to you.
And New York fans especially, or Dallas, it actually reminds me of the movie Fever Pitch. Jimmy Fallon, he goes to the bar, and Kevin Millar and Johnny Damon, they're all drinking after losing the World Series game.
He's pissed.
And then he realizes, you know what? These are just got people too.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Is there anything big brewing that you can give me a little insight on that might be coming out, let's say next couple days? And then tell me I only have 20 seconds.
From me?
Yeah, what's up? Maybe you have a little nugget?
Let's see. Nugget. Man, you really put me on the spot here. I would say the Aiden Hutchinson deal could happen. That's the one big extension left. Detroit wants to get it done. They're motivated. They're not quite there, but that is one to watch.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. You want to hang out just for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I want to hear more about the podcast as well. Tyrone's got a question or two. Jordan Schultz, our NFL insider, joins us. We got much more to talk about, including tonight's game in Brazil. And is Jordan going to watch the Red Zone with commercials? We're going to find out right after this on the Craig Carton Show. Don't go nowhere because we're staying right here.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When is Caitlin Clark coming back? Is it in this regular season? Is it going to be to start the postseason? Is it not at all? It's one of the most fascinating things of this WNBA season that we aren't talking about with regularity because it's just been so long. I know it may not feel it, but Caitlin Clark's last game was the 15th of July.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone here, of course. My main man, our NFL insider, Jordan Schultz, joins us. Jordan's got a new podcast, and it's called what?
I have 2, actually.
You son of a bitch.
It's the Jordan Schultz YouTube channel. We got Why is Draymond Green Talking About Football?
That's the one I saw yesterday, right? Yep.
And then the other one was the DJ one. We did sit down with T. Higgins, Patrick Surtain, and that's also on the channel, which is just Schultz Report. So
got it.
It's,
he's entrepreneuring his way.
Yeah,
right?
I'm excited about it, and
it's probably a little scary too. You're on your own, right?
It is.
Right.
If you go from Fox,
which is not bad,
to your own.
So tonight, obviously, you got the game in Brazil with Kansas City and the Chargers. A lot of people think Chargers might be their year with Harbaugh. Year 2, make a little run. Maybe you'll press Kansas City a little bit. I'm not a Kansas City guy because, they're good. And I'm a Jet fan. And you got to have enemies in sports. Yeah. So I root against dynasties. I did with the Patriots. I'm rooting against Kansas City. I've had enough of Kansas City. The best thing Kansas City's done, by the way, in the last 5 years is silence Mahomes' brother. He hasn't said a word publicly in 3 years.
Jackson has been quiet.
Right? That's the greatest move they made. But it seems like more and more people are now willing to accept the possibility that the run is over.
I'm not.
You're not one of them.
I'm not there.
Damn it.
I'm not there. And the reason I'm not there is, I think what they built is sustainable. So the offensive line, they fortified it.
New left tackle.
Yeah, new left tackle. They also, the kid, Josh Simmons, they drafted out of Ohio State. They also signed a tackle. They obviously, the name to watch in Kansas City this year, I'll give you a name, mid-round pick out of Utah State, Jalen Royals. He had a really good camp. He's a little banged up. He's not going to play this week. But they believe that between him, Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and then once Rashee Rice comes back, that their offense is going to be humming.
But what's weird about it is even with those guys there, and they've had injuries for sure. Rashee's one of them. They are not, it's funny. We all think of Patrick Mahomes. I think we all agree best quarterback in football, but they don't throw the ball down the field. And I think people even watching the Super Bowl are like, no, look what Worthy did in the Super Bowl.
That was late.
But the game was over.
Yeah, that was late.
Like they were down 40 when they started throwing the deep ball. And in the last 3 years, they're one of the worst deep ball throwing teams from a standpoint of how often do they throw the ball air yards more than 20. They're dead last.
And I don't think they want to be in the top 5, but they like to be somewhere in the middle of the league. And that's where, mentioned Worthy, but that's where Rashee Rice, who was on pace to have a record year before the ACL, that's where he comes in. And then again, Jalen Royals, the reason they like him so much is he gives them that yak. And he's going to be a significant part of the offense. So I don't think they're going to be crazy high-octane.
But better than they've been.
They'll be better, and the defense will be good.
You want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, I want to ask you about the 49ers for a second, only because it comes out that Christian McCaffrey now limited in practice, and a lot of people, including Craig, thinks, and Vegas, because that over-under number is quite high, thinks San Fran's poised for a bounce back. What are you hearing about the health of him and the 49ers?
Yeah, so last week, they told me, the team, that it was the healthiest he had been, McCaffrey, in 2 years. And then, of course, he pops up with a calf.
Calf, right.
And if you know anything about, if you're a fantasy football player, you know this, calf injuries for running backs are death.
Yes.
Because it not only leads to the Achilles, but it's directly, and I'm not a doctor, but it's directly translates to explosiveness, sudden change. It's the same thing in Miami with Devon Achane. He has it too. He's 23, McCaffrey's 30, and McCaffrey's comes off the Achilles. I think they'll be cautious with him. I think he'll be okay, but if he's not right and he's not the McCaffrey we want him to be and believe he can be, then that team's not going to go where it.
Yeah, and look, if you're a fantasy football dude who picked him with the first round, shame on you. Like I know it's hard not to.
It's because if he's healthy, he's a top 2 guy every week.
Yes,
but it's a big if.
I mean, there he is. I mean, right there.
There he is. Yeah.
Christian. Like, that's a live shot in San Francisco right now.
Working on.
He also apparently has the measles.
I want to believe in the Niners. I do, because last year was so bad, and they have so many good players, and obviously we talk about that division too. I think the Rams, if Stafford's healthy, that's a really good
Rams
team.
are always that team the last couple of years at least, where if you're an NFC team that is already in, and you say to those teams and their fan bases, "What's the one team you're afraid of?" It was the Rams.
Always.
I almost beat Philly in the snow, obviously.
They were a play away.
Yeah, like if that game's 30 seconds longer, maybe they do win that game. But I'm with you. Like, you can't consider San Francisco a sleeper team because they've had so much success. But I do believe, if healthy, big if, same with Detroit, I think San Francisco's good enough to get back there and make another run.
I agree. I'll give you, I don't know how much time we have, but I spent the day in Detroit 2 weeks ago, and the biggest questions are, okay, no Aaron Glenn, no Ben Johnson. What does that do for Jared Goff? What does it do for the defense? Dan Campbell told me point blank, this is the best version of Jared Goff you're going to see. What does that mean? He said he's matured and he is even more comfortable, even with a new OC. And then the rookie third rounder out of Arkansas, Isaac Tesla, going to be a big part of that offense. So they're going to run the ball. They have 3 great receivers. I like Detroit.
Yeah, look, and people forget they were the #1 seed last year. They're telling me I got to wrap it up. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you, Greg.
by.
I appreciate you.
Again, where do people find the YouTube
Jordan
show?
Schultz on YouTube, obviously on all the social channels, and I can't wait to come back.
I wish you the best of luck. We'll have you on throughout the season.
Thank you.
And appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.
It's Jordan Schultz, everybody, NFL Insider. We got tons of football coming your way right after this.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You're looking for JJ. You and I already discussed here. Addison's gone for a couple of games here. They don't really have a number 3. Thielen, fine. You do have a nice tight end here. The running game could be solid here. Like I said, I don't think he'll have the least productive season of his career. If the question was how it should have been with the injuries, I might have said yes, because then it would be 88, 1,407. So then I might have said yes.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
No better place to be than SportsGrid. College football today, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe, Lisi, Donnie, right side for the entire season, Joe, on Saturday. This is your place. This is your place to be, Joe.
I love it. I tell you. And it's flying. Show's flying. We're on an hour already. I can't wait. We're licking our chops for these Rat Pack games. And it's a great slate.
Look at you on the screen right now.
Look like a little rat.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
The reason why I feel like Jared Goff doesn't really enter these MVP conversations. Jared Goff last year was on the team with the best record in football, threw for 4,700 yards, 37 touchdowns, and Tom was never in the race. He was never in the race because we know he's not that guy.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show right here in New York City. Interesting having Jordan here. So it's weird on the McCaffrey story that 2 weeks ago the Niners were telling everybody he's good to go. The healthiest he's been in 2 years, which again proves to you that even if you're well connected as Jordan is and you have access to teams lie to you the way college girls do. Right? It's like, I'll give you my phone number. And then you call the number of some dude named Frank. You know what I mean? It's a problem for San Francisco. As much of the reality that I am a huge Brock Purdy guy, and I think Brock Purdy, it's like the Jalen Hurts thing. Well, look at the system around him, and it's all coaching, and he's got the best left tackle in football, and so what? So what? Brock Purdy's a damn good quarterback, and all he's done other than last year is win. So McCaffrey, though, is a problem because as good as Brock Purdy is, at least in my opinion, the entire offense is not built around Brock Purdy. The offense has been built around Christian McCaffrey. And what I'm sensing from what Jordan just told us, I don't think he's playing this week.
No, he says they're going to be careful. That kind of means
that equates to we're not going to rush you back. I agree 100%. Calf injuries lead to Achilles injuries. Achilles injuries lead to you're out for the year. And a full year recovery. We see more in basketball, obviously, lately than in football. But I'm not a doctor, but I think they're closely related.
They're close.
I think the calf goes into the Achilles, and then the Achilles goes into the feet or something.
Yeah.
But whatever, or the flux capacitor, I don't know what it is. But I know when a team says to an insider, we're going to be careful, that dude ain't playing this week.
Yeah, and that's a real problem. And because and the tough part is when you have a 30-year-old running back. This isn't 26-year-old McCaffrey. This is 30-year-old McCaffrey.
Right.
Does 1 week become 6 or 4 or 5, 6? And San Francisco's not good enough, to your point, to win a lot of games without him.
Yeah, we do have a game tonight. I want to focus a little bit of this segment on some of the better games for week one. Obviously, I thought last night was great. I know the Lightning delay sucked, and it was like a real downer, and oh man, an hour we got to wait for football. Right. And to be fair, it had a major impact on the game last night because you think about this. I don't gamble. I'm a compulsive gambler, so I cannot gamble. I've not gambled in 8 years now. And I'm very proud of that.
Great.
And
That's
it's great.
Great.
Tyrone gambles, all good, no problem, right? But this is last night was one of those games where I was so happy I'm not a gambler now because the over-under in last night's game was 47 and a half, depending on obviously where you make your bets, all right? And there were 41 points scored by halftime.
Yeah.
That is a mortal lock that the over is going to cover in the second half. As a matter of fact, the research on that was in situations where you were a touchdown or less away from covering the over at halftime, the over had covered 175 times out of 177. There are only 2 times in the history of the sport where the over didn't cover when you were that close at halftime. Then comes the rain, then comes the lightning, then comes the silly delay. 3 more points.
The whole game.
3 more points scored in the second half. I don't know if that's because of the wet field or the guys got tight or whatever it is. But if you were one of those people sitting at home going, counting my money, I got the over. It's another reason why you probably shouldn't gamble.
Yeah, for the record, my anniversary's this weekend. And
congratulations.
I appreciate that. I love you, Elizabeth. Now, at the same time, I have to deal with that. I had the Eagles money line with the over.
So you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so your wife's not getting an anniversary gift is what I'm hearing. Hi, Elizabeth.
yeah, not happening.
I live in Jersey, baby. Sorry, that was rude probably. All right, you got Chiefs and Chargers tonight. I am bullish on the Chargers, of course, and I'm an anti-Chief guy. I own it. Your barbecue sucks too. It's weird, though, that people that aren't, like shock jocks or people that, hot take artists and all that stuff, there's a growing sentiment amongst just football fans, I think, and people that cover football, that this is the year that the Kansas City Chiefs kind of take a step back, or a couple of steps back possibly, and the year 2 of Harbaugh, obviously, in LA with the Chargers. And I'm a huge Harbaugh guy, and I do love Justin Herbert as well. He does have to win a playoff game before we start talking about him in the same conversations as Allen and Burrow and Jackson and Mahomes, but he's got all the tools to be one of those guys. I'm not telling you the Chargers are going to win tonight's game, but I am telling you that Kansas City is not just going to breeze through the division the way they have since Mahomes got there. And the reason I say that is, we found kind of the magic elixir, much like we did with New England and Tom Brady, of how to beat them. And I know it's not like something new. It's not like, I just discovered, some new, gold. It is pressure on the quarterback, man. If you can somehow get pressure, and the offensive line of Kansas City, I know it's been rebuilt, but you have a rookie at left tackle who is coming off a major injury in college.
Yep.
I'm assuming he's fine, so I'll accept that. But Patrick Mahomes is ordinary when you get pressure on him. Now, he's got great weapons. I think this is Kelsey's last year. I think Kelsey will be more motivated off of the Super Bowl disaster in which he played arguably his worst game as a pro. But I also believe at some point, when you're that good for that long, other teams eventually close the gap. I don't think the Raiders have closed the gap. I really don't. But I do think the Chargers have. I do think the Broncos have, with Bo Nix at quarterback. So while Kansas City might wind up winning the division, I'm not saying it's off the table. I do think they're a lock for the playoffs, whether it's a wild card or not. I think that gap has been closed, and I think whether it's the Chargers or Broncos, there's a chance we have a new division winner. I do.
Absolutely. I think that's 100% right. And Denver, as you bring them up, because you already elaborated on the Chargers, their defensive line is really good. I mean, you mentioned the Giants earlier in the show as well. You think that front seven is going to be really good. I think the Broncos' front seven is good. They might be the team in the division that could topple them or show more of that blueprint.
Which is weird because when you think Sean Payton, you think quarterback play. You think offense because you had Drew Brees.
Right, but they've loaded up on the defensive side of the ball.
Their defense is dope.
Right.
They have as good a defense as you have, certainly in the AFC, arguably in the league.
Absolutely.
And they will win games because that defense is lights out. All right, game number 2, you got to focus on week 1, and I love it. I love starting off with potential playoff matchups or even AFC or NFC championship game matchups. Ravens, Bills. Like, dude, this is one of them games. Don't bet on it. Put your feet up, get some popcorn, have Elizabeth make you some wings, and enjoy football at the highest level. Because that's what you're getting with Ravens Bills. And there's a little, again, I don't gamble, but the Ravens are going into Orchard Park as favorites in this game. I know it's like 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5, yeah.
But that, to me, if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, I treat that as nothing but sordid disrespect. I'm the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills, and I'm an underdog in my own building. I also think this is the year, finally, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens get over the hump and get at least to an AFC championship game. And I think they're going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And then the last game I'll focus on for week 1, I'm a Jet fan, so it's the Jets. Not because it's the Jets, but there's a part of me kind of like, it's like I have a sickness, and I acknowledge it, Tyrone. It's like when you stop or you slow down to see the traffic accident on the highway, and you know people got hurt, and you want to see it. Or like when I'm sitting in traffic, there are times I root for an accident. I want a plausible explanation for traffic. Right. I don't want traffic because dudes are just driving slow. I want death.
Right.
I want dismemberment. I want multi-car pileups.
Not construction. Not construction. No.
Construction at 3 in the afternoon. No. Give me a 10-car pileup.
That's right.
And my fear as a Jet fan is that exactly what I'm going to get Sunday at 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. I am convinced that Aaron Rodgers is thrown for 300-plus yards. And look, the Steelers kind of own the Jets historically anyway. But as a Jet fan, it's in my soul, man. It's in my DNA. I'm going to slow down and watch the traffic wreck because that's what I think it's going to be for the Jets home opener. And I don't care what Garrett Wilson or Aaron Glenn or anybody else has to say. It's going to be a long, long year, but I'm still very excited that football is back. Coming up, some news and notes from around the league on the Craig Carton Show.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When is Caitlin Clark coming back? Is it in this regular season? Is it going to be to start the postseason? Is it not at all? It's one of the most fascinating things of this WNBA season that we aren't talking about with regularity because it's just been so long. And, I know it may not feel it, but Caitlin Clark's last game was the 15th of July.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Great to have you here. Tyrone Johnson, of course, sitting with me. Time for some news and notes, not just NFL. Of course, the most of the focus today, rightfully so, is going to be NFL. Just one real quick thing, if I can. Yesterday, I was asked to join my friends over at Fox Weather.
Oh, were you over there?
I'm a huge weather guy. I love the weather the way I love sports. and I'm very close with some of the folks over there. So I did like 4 or 5 segments on Fox Weather because on Thursdays when there's an NFL game, Fox Weather does a great program where they get fans ready for any possible inclement weather. You know, it's hurricane season, all that stuff. So they brought me on. I can show you a picture of me sitting in what they call the Beast, the Fox Weather SUV, right there, looking pretty good, I must say. So they say to me at one point during the broadcast, all right, we got the big game tonight. We got Eagles, we got Cowboys. You can show a couple of photos, I don't care. And they go, your thoughts on the weather impacting tonight's game?
Yeah.
And I see the big screen where it's like, you know, some gusty winds in the first quarter, calming down. So I say on Fox Weather yesterday, well, here's the good news. We're not going to have to worry about the weather in the second half.
Yeah.
Because I was looking, they have the weather screen.
Right.
And they do a really good job over there where they go, here's the weather at kickoff. Here's the weather for what we, you know, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so you can prepare.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm the sports guy there. And they're like, your thoughts on the weather impacting the game? And I'm like, yeah, rain's not an issue. Wind is usually a bigger issue than rain for quarterbacks, right? And as I'm looking at the thing, it was like 30-mile-per-hour gusts at kickoff.
Early.
And then maybe 10 or 15 second half. So I say to the guys there, I go, well, if you make it to halftime, you're going to be fine.
This is why you talk sports instead of weather.
Meanwhile, lightning's coming in. Dorothy and Annie M are flying by going to their Sphere in Vegas. And we have an hour and 4-minute delay specifically because of weather. So for those of you that, like me, love Fox Weather and may have seen my appearances there yesterday, I just want to apologize. As much as I love weather, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just not. All right, here's some other news and notes. You know, as a Jewish American, I'm very sensitive to anti-Semitism. And I have to tell you that I took one on the chin yesterday because Luka Doncic, who looks great, lost all this weight, put on muscle, ready for a huge year out in LA with the Lakers and LeBron, apparently possibly could be anti-Semitic. And it's bringing me down.
Well, why do you say this?
It's a good question. Because where's he from, Lithuania or something?
Yeah.
Wherever he's from, they played Team Israel yesterday. And let me show you, this is just not fair. Luka took advantage of my people. Show me the stats. Yeah. I mean, 37 points.
Yeah, Slovenia.
You couldn't have stopped at 28. 11 boards, was it 9 assists, steals, blocks? I mean, I looked at it, I go, he hates my people. Obviously, I don't think he's anti-Semitic. I shouldn't joke about it. But I was like, come on, man, take a break.
He's extra motivated.
Yeah, he even skipped our national anthem because he had to go to the bathroom. I'm like, you skipped my anthem? And then you drop 40 on me?
That's disrespect.
I got to do some investigation.
Disrespect.
Into that. Yeah. Second thing, this is crazy sometimes, you know, where sports and the real world kind of intersect with each other. If you're a UFC fan, and who's not, Conor McGregor has been the biggest star in the UFC for the better part of a decade. I think he's done fighting now. I know he claims he's making a comeback. Conor McGregor, for some of you, might be more well-known for his tirade in Brooklyn when he attacked an actual school bus. I can show you some of that video here as well, just to remind you of what happened about 7-8 years ago after a UFC event in Brooklyn where he took out a couple bus windows and people got really hurt, like shards of glass and whatnot. Well, it turns out there's a lot of like political upheaval in Ireland. And he's, of course, from Ireland. And he announced that he's running for the president of Ireland. I didn't even know they had presidents in Ireland, to be honest. And the latest polling shows that he will win the election in a landslide. Conor McGregor, who is more well known for obviously fighting and being foul-mouthed and some sexual harassment cases, like multiple. Alleged rape and whatnot, is the front runner to become the next president of Ireland. And it's not even going to be close. Like, that doesn't work in my brain.
It doesn't.
And it's not a knock on him or the people of Ireland, fine people. But how is Conor McGregor going to handle, like, worldwide politics? Start punching dudes? He'd be like, yo, Trump, You got something to say?
Get somebody to guillotine
So I
choke.
saw that, and then exactly right. Oh, you don't want to negotiate? Guillotine. and then the last news and note, and this is a problem. This is elder abuse at this point. It was announced yesterday that there's going to be an exhibition boxing match. I'm a huge boxing fan. My grandfather was a Golden Glove champion in New York multiple times as a middleweight. Grew up boxing, loved boxing. The sport's essentially dead, unfortunately. But they are bringing out, and I'm not making this up, it's not a bit. They're having an actual fight. It's an amateur fight. It's not like sanctioned or anything like that. Between Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson.
Huh?
And here's the promo for it. I understood what the Tyson Paul thing was. It was about money.
Right.
I totally get that. And I thought Tyson held his punches back. And I really think he could have hurt Jake Paul. You know, who knows if that story ever truly come out. But does anybody on the planet, anybody, especially now that Stream East has been shut down and a couple dudes in Egypt got arrested and you can't pirate the video like we used to for pay-per-view events, you got to now pay for it. I'm a big boxing guy. I'm a big UFC guy. I wouldn't pay a nickel to watch Mike Tyson, go through the motions against Floyd Mayweather. And I loved both of them, obviously.
Right. You're talking about a guy, even let's say it was real, and it's not. One guy fought at heavyweight. The other guy's best weight was 140.
Right.
He made his most money at 147.
Guy.
Right. He made his money at 147. His best fight was 130, 140 pounds. And we're supposed to pay for this? You should pay me to watch this.
Which is why, FBI, can you give Stream East a break? And because
I
would watch it for free, maybe.
Yeah, maybe if it's on Netflix or something, I'll turn it on if I'm
I
not
was
doing
bored
anything.
on a Saturday night, I might consider it. But that's the state of boxing where that fight, while I ain't going to watch it, will probably have more viewers than any other sanctioned boxing match in the world. Coming up, as we get ready for tonight's big game, Chiefs and Chargers, we'll break it down. Tyrone will give you a pick on it, and we'll give you all of Monday's headlines today, right after this.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls in anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You're looking for JJ. You and I already discussed here. Addison's gone for a couple of games here. They don't really have a number 3. Thielen, fine. You do have a nice tight end here. The running game could be solid here. Like I said, I don't think he'll have the least productive season of his career. If the question was how it should have been with the injuries, I might have said yes, because then it would be 88, 1,407. So then I might have said yes.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
No better place to be than SportsGrid. College football today, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe, Lisi, Donnie, right side for the entire season, Joe, on Saturday. This is your place. This is your place to be, Joe.
I love it. I tell you. And it's flying. Show's flying. We're on an hour already. I can't wait. We're licking our chops for these Rat Pack games. And it's a great slate.
Look at you on the screen right now.
Look like a little rat.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
The reason why I feel like Jared Goff doesn't really enter these MVP conversations. Jared Goff last year was on the team with the best record in football, threw for 4,700 yards, 37 touchdowns, and Tom was never in the race. He was never in the race because we know he's not that guy.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Big football game tonight, of course. Tyrone's going to give you a pick on it. We'll give you a couple thoughts on Chiefs and Chargers in a second. But We try to pre-predict what's going to happen over the weekend. So every Friday, this segment, we're going to give you Monday's headlines today. All right, no particular order. College football back at you again. Obviously, Texas with Arch Manning trying to get on the right side of a win. And who do they play? Who's Texas even playing? Nobody even knows. They play like an FCS school. They're favored by 36. So you know all the sycophants out there who are afraid of Peyton Manning. Here's your Monday headline as Arch Manning's going to throw for 500 yards against a high school team. Arch Manning, greatest quarterback of all time. They play San Jose State. Like, come on, man. Exactly right. The only thing worse than that is Penn State playing FIU. So all the ass kissers are going to be out there. Arch Manning, look at Arch Manning. Arch Manning played Ohio State. He got embarrassed. All right, the second headline. North Carolina still reeling after their embarrassing loss to TCU on Monday night. They play Charlotte. Didn't know Charlotte had a football team. If Charlotte beats North Carolina, which is on the table, by the way.
Can't rule it
They're
out.
only like a touchdown underdog or so. Here's the headline in the Charlotte Observer. Bill Belichick steps down. And if you see his little notepad right there, I resign as the HC of UNC, which is an ode to what he did to us as Jet fans. And I think that's a possibility. If they're 0-2 and they can't beat Charlotte, a non-football school, oh, that'd be great. Bill Belichick is out. Headline number 3. You may have seen the news yesterday, last night. If not, you'll see it this morning. The only basketball player on the women's side people care about, Caitlin Clark, is done for the year. So by Monday, this will be the headline in USA Today. Caitlin Clark out for the year. The WNBA is shutting down operations.
That's a cold shot.
Shutting it down. Because let's be honest, nobody cares about women's basketball if she ain't playing. So you had a good little run, and now it's over. That's the way that goes.
Now, are we upset that they didn't make sure that her groin, they got, that's the injury that she has.
I don't talk about a woman's groin.
No, it's a groin injury, the groin muscle. The groin muscle.
You're not making it any better.
I am making it better. That's what shut her down. Don't you think the league, going off of your theory, you got to make sure she's sleeping in a chamber, has the best doctors.
I don't care.
Yes, you do. Because she would be playing, and thus you would then care.
If she plays, I might take one eyeball on it. She ain't playing. I'm not talking about her groin nor her groin muscle.
Groin muscle.
No.
There's a difference.
I'm aware.
All right. Lawyers
I
are
do
aware.
cordials all the time. Yeah.
What'd you call them? Cordials. Kegels.
Kegel cordial. I don't know what the hell it is. I thought I was right, too.
What you call them? Cordials.
You're right, it's Kegel.
That's a little drink. Cordials a drink.
All right. Your final Monday headline. If you turn on a sports talk radio station in America today, and you hear a host, I don't care what day part it is, telling you that commercials on Red Zone is not a big deal, you should never listen to that host ever again because he or she no longer represents you, the fan. I do. They are now, I don't care how long the commercials are, the beauty of Red Zone was 7 hours, commercial free. And now they're adding commercials. So this will be your headline in the New York Times. We just picked that randomly for Monday. Red Zone loses all viewers because commercials suck on Red Zone. Good here.
Great here.
Bad there.
Bad there.
And I think that'll be a big headline. Even if it's a 15-second commercial, people like me are going to be like, what the hell's going on? I want to see everything. And I think it's a bad decision and a greedy decision to put commercials in Red Zone. It was the beauty of Red Zone. 7 hours, commercial free. And if anyone poo-poos that, you know exactly where they stand. They're an elitist snob who does not represent you, the hardworking American man who buys Callahan motor parts. All right, big game tonight. Someone upstairs got that. Here we go. Chiefs and Chargers. Tyrone is 0 for 1 on the season with his loss last night, saying that the Eagles would blow out the Dallas Cowboys. I assume that what's the spread? 3.5?
It's 3.
3, Chiefs favored by 3 over the
Yes,
Chargers.
open at 2.5, move to 3.
So a couple bucks on the Kansas City side, which makes sense. The American public always favors the favorites. Who's winning the game? And give me a score.
All right. I've been talking about it. You've been talking about it. I'm not going to jump off of that. I think the Chiefs are a playoff team, but not an elite team anymore. I think the Chargers have the ability to prove they can be an elite team, and I think it starts tonight. Really close game. I think it might be just as exciting at the end as this one last night. I have the Chargers winning in a close one, 28-27.
All right, so Chargers covered. They did lose their best offensive lineman, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But they can run the football, and you have Justin Herbert there. So it'll be interesting. I can't wait to watch another NFL game. Before we leave, I just wanted to give you again, for those of you that didn't get a chance to watch the fourth quarter of last night's game because of the lightning delay, here's the play of the game. That's Dak Prescott throwing to a wide open CeeDee Lamb, hits him right in the chest.
Right there.
It's like he has no hands. Thank you for watching the start of the Craig Carton Show. We'll be back Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern on YouTube, on Twitter, and all the social platforms. Have a great weekend, and thank you for watching.